The elusive good night's sleep. We all need it. We all want it. Yet 30% of us are not getting enough quality sleep. And that can lead to brain fog, irritability, and accidents. Today, we are talking with a former insomniac turned sleep coach about a holistic approach to better sleep. Hello, and welcome to Living Well with Robin Stoloff, empowering you to live a healthier life. I am so pleased to welcome Amanda Chocko, nutritional therapy practitioner and sleep coach. Amanda, let's start with your journey. You were a former insomniac. What did you do to overcome that, and how are you helping your clients?
In most of my adult life, I've had some form of sleep issue. And over the years, it was kind of random. And I would just do like the over-the-counter, like NyQuil, glass of wine, sleepy time tea, different things that were the only things I really knew that existed to try to help with that. And they worked temporarily, but they obviously were just a Band-Aid for like what else was going on. I, over the years, also had some other health issues with autoimmunity and inflammatory bowel disease. And I was really suffering with that. So I was feeling the sleep issue was just a side effect of all of that. So after really not getting answers that I needed from like the conventional standard of care, I really went into more of a holistic realm to try to overcome some of the things that I was going through. So I was really looking for the root cause and working on my nutrition and trying to work on my sleep and stress. And there were some other things that I was working with a functional practitioner on and doing tons and tons of research. So all of that led me to, I began to write a blog called the Feeling Groovy Project. And then people started asking me a lot of questions about health. So I thought at that point, I'm really enjoying this. So I decided to go back to school and become a nutritional therapy practitioner, which I did in 2017. Came out of school and did, additional certifications in gut health protocols, autoimmune, and many of the things that I was dealing with. So when I started working with my clients, that's what they were coming to me with, those types of issues. But always in the background were sleep issues as well. It was just something else that they were dealing with that I was also trying to help them with that. And again, kind of playing whack-a-mole with all these different remedies that you hear about. But it wasn't until the pandemic when my insomnia became chronic. It was just relentless. I was staring at the ceiling every night, walking around like a zombie every day. And I just, at that point, had had enough and said, I need to get to the bottom of this and get to the root cause. So I really started digging into the research, experimenting with different frameworks and protocols, and was able to really get to the root cause of my sleep issues and fix it. Out of that came my book, where I have documented this methodology to help others that are dealing with sleep issues, and began to also work with my clients. And then really decided at that point to completely focus my practice on sleep coaching, because I really feel like if your sleep is shot, all of the other things that you're trying to accomplish in life really take a backseat to that. Because if you're fatigued or have chronic insomnia, it's just the worst.
Absolutely. And so many people suffer from sleep problems. You wrote a book about this and you share some of these strategies with your clients. What is the name of your book, and what is some of the advice that you give your clients?
So the name of my book is Relax, Sleep, Thrive, Your 5-Week Journey to Peaceful Restorative Sleep. And it's really a step-by-step approach. It's a 5-week program, but it's really day by day, helping people first get the foundations of their sleep set. So that means, having a regular sleep schedule, having some type of wind down routine, so they're not like, rushing up, at 100 miles an hour to sleep time without really giving their bodies and minds time to decelerate to get into that relaxive state. Helping them work through creating the perfect sleep environment, their sleep sanctuary. So really getting those bases down. There's lots of checklists and assessments and things like that. In the second week, we're really trying to connect the dots and becoming a sleep detective and all of the things that we do on a daily basis that could be impacting your sleep. So you begin journaling your sleep, kind of the quality of your sleep, if you're having trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, getting back to sleep. And then the timing of all the different activities that you do in the day. So this would include light exposure, meal timing, exercise, caffeine, alcohol, supplements, medications. These are all things that, depending on when you do them, if you just tweak the timing of those, quite often you'll find that that's enough to really help get you back into a sleep mode. But stress usually plays a really big role in that as well. So that's a big part of when I work with clients and in my book as well, is really helping them work through how to manage stress, and particularly stress at bedtime and during those times when you wake up in the middle of the night and your mind just turns on, you can't turn it off, and coming up with strategies to overcome that. So that's usually the case with most of the people I work with, but sometimes there's a deeper problem. It might be a blood sugar issue. Blood sugar dysregulation will impact your sleep. Having some type of a sleep disorder, digestive disorders, hormonal fluctuations, depending on, where you are, in your life with those types of situations. Also even just being overheated. If you get too hot in the evening, it will wake you up in the middle of the night. So there's all different things. It really takes, becoming that sleep detective and learning how to connect the dots between all of the things that are impacting your life and experimenting with either addressing those issues or, as we said before, changing the timing or working with these stress management techniques.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. I think the stress in people's daily lives, it accumulates. And even if you're not even realizing it, because we're all so used to it, that is something that really can make us stay up at night. And you have some strategies that general strategies. So let's go over those again. If you mentioned a few, but just talk about, what you tell people and the best ways that, people can make changes today.
Sure. So the first thing to, just really low-hanging fruit changes you could make is turn down the temperature in your house about an hour or so before you're going to bed. You really want, especially your bedroom temperature, to be, 66, 67 degrees, because your body needs to cool down a couple of degrees to really be able to begin to get into sleep, and particularly deep sleep. And then, through the night, your temperature raises for when you wake up in the morning. So temperature is a big thing. Darkness. You want to turn down those lights, when it gets closer to bedtime, or, have candles, a fireplace. Some people, red light bulbs, because any artificial light is going to signal to your body that it's daytime and make it harder for you to get to sleep. I use blue blocking glasses at around 9 o'clock every night. And I read my Nook, which is something I've been doing for the last 10 years. I love to read before I go to sleep, but I know that the blue light from that device is going to downregulate my melatonin. So I wear those blue blocking glasses. So those are just, general sleep hygiene is the first thing that I always ask, is like, what is your nighttime routine? Are you working from your bedroom? Do you have a TV blasting in your room? Are you stressed out, right up until the time you go to sleep? And trying to work on those types of strategies. Again, connecting the dots to those daily things. So tracking against your sleep, the timing of the things that you're doing, and tweaking those a little bit. There are a lot of medications that are known to cause insomnia, but you don't always hear that from your doctor, and it's not always on the label. And they're very common medications as well. So really looking into your medications, the timing you're taking that, and speaking with your doctor, if any of those do fall under that umbrella, that they might be, a cause for insomnia. When it comes to stress, particularly like the evening time, really doing a mind dump, about an hour before bed. Get your to-do list out of your head for the next day. Sometimes we get overstressed and anxious with all of the things that we have to do. So just writing those things down, putting them on a calendar, knowing that, yes, I will deal with them tomorrow. Tonight is sleep. Worry lists as well. When I work with my clients, it's like, okay, if you're worrying about something, let's write that out, and then create a worry time the next day that you're going to dedicate that time to. So you're
The
not going
work
to bed with
time. I
those
like
worries.
that. Just get
Yeah.
rid of it, write it down, get it off your mind.
Get
Right.
it
I
off
like
and then
that.
know, okay, tomorrow I'm going to take 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever that might be, and really think this through. How real is this? Is it just stories that I'm making up in my head?
Yes.
What's triggering this worry? Could I reframe this, doing reframing exercises? How much of it's in your control? How much of it isn't? And
Easier said than done for many people, though, because sometimes you get
easier
just
said than
something in
done.
your head and it's just very hard to release it, and that's where I think practices, and I'm sure you recommend this, something like meditation, yoga,
Yeah.
any kind of movement. I hate to use the word exercise, it doesn't have to be formal exercise, it could be moving your body in any way, but that really makes a difference, doesn't it?
Absolutely. For me, I've had this on and off relationship with meditation, and I like get on a good streak, and then all of a sudden, I get off of my habit, and I really notice a difference. And what meditation does is, I think of it more as brain training than even, I mean, it's relaxing, yes, but you're learning how to just observe your thoughts and let them pass, and not get stuck in that rabbit hole of all of a sudden, you start, ruminating or catastrophizing and all the things that we tend to do, which always gets worse at night, right? I mean, for some
Yes.
reason at night, everything is so much worse in our minds. And then we wake up the next day and we're like, okay, I don't know,
Yes. Well,
this
it's
isn't
still, it's quiet. It's the time that you sort of really can
exactly.
wind down and relax, and that can let thoughts into your brain. And sometimes when people hear the word meditation, they sort of think of like, a guru sitting cross-legged on a mountain, but it's not like that at all. You can meditate really anywhere at your desk if you want, and it can be 5 minutes, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be a big major overhaul of your life.
Yeah, exactly. And if you wake up in the night and you're dealing with these incessant thoughts, I mean, one thing that I've found really helpful is like body scan meditations. You need to get out of your head. So if you're focusing your thoughts on something other than whatever is bothering you at that moment, it's really helpful. So there are a lot of guided meditations that do body scans. There's other techniques of thinking through your favorite walk, like if you go through a trail or anything else, just going through those motions, not think of anything too technical or, stimulating in any way, but
Mm-hmm.
almost something that's boring. I used to be a pastry chef many, many moons
Oh, what
ago.
a different career.
And yeah, that was my other life. But I still remember all the recipes. And sometimes when I can't get my mind off of something, all of a sudden I just start baking in my head and I go through like every single ingredient. And
I love that.
it just puts me to sleep. It's amazing.
That's great. Now, see, my thing would be I'd be on the beach. I would be on the beach. I'd see the ocean. I hear the ocean. I feel the sand. That's my happy place. And to
Yeah.
me, that would be something that would kind of put me to sleep. In fact, sometimes I even put that on my iPad and listen to the sound of the ocean because it's so
Mm-hmm.
relaxing to me. It brings up very happy memories for me. So, whatever your thing is, whatever works for you, that's a great way to do it. And now you're hearing a lot
Yeah,
about
sure.
different blue light, brown light. I'm not sure what the difference. Not white noise. I'm sorry, white noise,
Noise.
brown noise.
Yeah.
Yes. So what does that mean? What is the difference between all those different noises?
Yeah. So there's white noise, pink noise, brown. I know. You're like, what?
Yes.
There, it's just it's different frequencies of sound. And I was just listening to a podcast today with a sleep scientist, and he was talking about the different colored sounds. And apparently, research has shown that pink noise is even better than white noise to help you go to sleep, because the frequency of the pink noise goes in sync with the slow brain waves that we have during deep sleep. So it kind of syncs you up with that in your mind. It might be like a subconscious thing that you're not even aware of. But, white noise, the nature sounds that you were talking about. I mean, these
Hmm.
are other ways to relax, get out of your head. You're listening to something else. It's tuning out with other street noise or other things. Sometimes, just my ceiling fan helps,
Hmm. Sure,
hearing
sure.
that going around.
It's just funny that they call a noise a color. Makes it
Yeah,
a
it must
little
maybe,
tough to get that, but I guess you have
I
to
don't
call it
know,
something. So I
maybe
know.
under a
So
microscope or something.
I don't know. But talk to us about some success stories that you've had with your clients.
Sure. So, sometimes it's as simple as I had one client and, we were working together and she was every evening having a glass of wine before she went to bed. And this is like a really common thing that like, alcohol, it's a sedative, it's going to help me fall asleep. And the same thing happens to me, just waking up at 3 a.m not trying to figure out what it was. And it was really through that journaling and that tracking that we found out that she really had to replace that wine with something else or have that earlier in the day. So that was like a really easy fix.
Yeah,
But
people
another
think
client,
that wine makes you, well, it might help you fall asleep or any kind of alcohol, but then it wakes you up, doesn't it? It disrupts your sleep.
yeah, it does. Once your liver finishes detoxifying that, it just, for some reason we wake up in the night and then your brain turns on and you have a really hard time falling asleep. And even if you don't wake up, it really still messes up with your sleep cycles. I know for me, I have a sleep tracker, and if I have wine, even if I have it earlier in the day, for me it totally ruins my deep sleep. Some studies show it ruins your REM sleep. For me, it's deep sleep. But in any case, even if I don't wake up, I just don't feel great the next day. I have brain fog. I'm just, not working on all of my cylinders. So, alcohol is definitely one of those things that you
Hmm.
want to,
Yeah, a lot of
you
people
want,
don't want to hear that. They do
well,
not
you know
want to
what?
hear that.
Sometimes I don't either. So I know if I have wine, it's going to impact me. But I'm still going to go out on a Saturday night with my husband
Okay.
and have a
I mean, you
glass of
just
wine.
know. All right.
I just know Sunday I'm going to be a little slower, but I've made that connection, and
Right.
I'm in
Exactly.
control. It's the risk reward situation.
I hear
Um,
you.
but other people, like another client I was working with, her blood sugar, she had a lot of blood sugar imbalances. She was hypoglycemic. So really working on the nutrition side of thing and balancing the blood sugar health, because if your blood sugar drops during the night, when you're sleeping, it's an emergency to your body. Your adrenals are going to, pump out that cortisol, and cortisol is just the opposite of melatonin, right? It's like yin and yang. You do not want that cortisol flowing through your body. So blood sugar can be an issue. And then on the other hand, if you have that chronic insomnia, or even, you know, like one night of bad sleep will mess up with your blood sugar regulation for the next day. So you'll find yourself, with more cravings and brain
Yes. I was going to
fog
say
and
sleep
all
and
of those
nutrition
things.
are so intertwined. They really are. We don't often think about that, but one affects the other, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can't really separate them. And it's kind of like this vicious cycle where you're trying to work on both of them at the same time. But, when your sleep is disrupted, when you're going through your deep sleep, that's where you have a lot of your hormones are being balanced during that time. And that includes your hunger hormones, your ghrelin, which, is our hunger signal, that gets upregulated, so we feel more hungry. Our leptin, which tells us when we're full, that gets downregulated, so we're not recognizing when we're full. And then your blood sugar gets out of whack, which causes cravings and kind of that blood sugar roller coaster.
And that can
So,
create a vicious cycle. And then you're having
right.
sugar and then you're staying awake and then you're not, then you're hungry again the next day and you're overeating. I mean, it can affect your weight. Sleep is related to that as well.
Yeah, because I mean, you're going to be not as satisfied eating, so you're going to be eating more calories. You're going to be drawn to the less healthy food choices.
I know. I
More,
always say, who
more
who
of
craves a carrot? Who craves celery?
um, yeah, and it becomes a vicious cycle. So then you're not eating as best as you could, so then you're not sleeping well, and then all of a sudden the next day you have the ramifications of that. And so it's that's why it's so important. Like if you really want to fix your sleep, it's like really being introspective and becoming a sleep scientist of yourself, or a sleep detective, and really looking at all of the things that are going on, and this process of elimination. Again, the low-hanging fruit in the beginning of getting that sleep hygiene, timing of things, but then you have the blood sugar issues. If you're going through perimenopause, menopause, I mean, it's all.
Yeah, I think it's different, obviously, for every person. And one size does not fit all. And that's what you do with your clients. You talk with them and you figure out, what is going on. But I think the first step in all of this is just saying to yourself, okay, I have a problem with this and I need to fix it, recognizing that there is an issue. So I think that's a great note to end on. And where can people reach you if they'd like to talk with you, get some more questions, or work with you?
Sure. So my website, amandachocko.com, on there, you can find my book, which is also on Amazon. You can see my programs that I run for sleep. And I also have a free guide for creating your perfect wind down routine that you could download. And then I'm on Instagram at amanda.chocko, where I give sleep tips.
And I will put your links in the show notes. So, very enlightening, very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing these wonderful sleep tips with us, Amanda.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you for being with me today for Living Well with Robin Stoloff, empowering you to live a healthier life. Please give the show a like and a follow, and we'll keep you updated on our most recent episode. Until I see you next time, keep living well.